Everyone, welcome to another edition of Car Stories on the PCTV network. I'm standing in front of Wheels in Motion's new location at 525 East High Street. So stay tuned for another car story live on PCTV. Hey everybody, here we are at PCTV with another episode of Car Stories. As you saw by our new opener, that Wheels in Motion, my company, combined both of our shops at 525 East High Street, the former Dame Chevrolet building. So our body shop and our service shop are on all in one building on High Street. And a few weeks ago on October 5th, we had our open house, grand opening, and it was phenomenal. I mean, we had hot rods and show cars in the back parking lot. We had the mayor there to cut the ribbon. Steve Tironi, Councilman Tironi, thank you for coming. Steve Banford came from Paid. So, and Gus and his wife came from PCTV. It was really a nice day, perfect weather, and we really had a good time. So don't forget, we're same phone numbers, just a different address. If you need your car serviced, give us a call, and we're open for business for body work and paint at 525 East High Street. Now, I wanted to show you a few pictures. The Danes family, for my open house grand opening, gave me some pictures of the property through the years. And the first picture you're looking at now is the house that used to be there in 1870. And look at that beautiful Victorian house that they tore down to build the dealership. I'm still getting bits and pieces of the history. In early 1900s, when they tore the house down, it was a carriage house. And the Kaiser family actually bought it in 1900, and it was a carriage house for horse and buggies. Now, some of my history facts are not, I don't know if they're 100%, but this is what I'm being told. If anyone in our viewing audience has any pictures or information on the property, I'd like it, of course. During the open house, I had a gentleman walk up to me and actually give me some pictures. So I'm going to show you some of these pictures now that I brought with me. This picture, during the open house, a gentleman named Charlie Moyer came up to me and said, I think you should have this. And this particular picture is, it's hard to see, but you can stop down and show it see it in my showroom, is them building the place. There's a pile of wood in the street, and there's men there digging and doing the foundation, which was really, really touched me that he brought that to the open house and gave it to me. He gave me one other shot of Kaiser Chevrolet, but I didn't bring that. The next one is probably most of our viewers remember it as Kaiser Chevrolet. Sorry here. That's back in the 50s. That's like 53 Chevys in the window. And that's a cool picture of the dealership. And then the next one, this is really neat. This is 1955 Kaiser Chevrolet. There's about 35 Mrs. Smith pie trucks. I mean, that shot there, again, the Danes family is nice enough to give me that. It's just phenomenal. I mean, Mrs. Smith's Pie, who used to be here in Pottstown, bought all their trucks from Kaiser Chevrolet, and there they are lined up on High Street, ready for delivery. I mean, what a photo shot, shot that they were smart enough to line up all these trucks and take a cool picture like that. And then the last one is probably what most of our viewers remember it as, Dame Chevrolet. This is 1982. The Dames family gave me this picture. It's the only one that's in color, and you won't believe this, but you can't see it, of course, but in the showroom is an 82 Indy 500 pace car Camaro, which I bought there brand new in 1982. They had no idea. They just picked a picture, and that's the one they picked, and it's my 82 Camaro that was in the showroom. Mr. Dame sold it to me. It was the first Camaro Z28 he sold when he took over from Kaiser's, and he asked if if I could leave it there in the window for a few weeks so he could show the people what the new Camaro looked like, and there it is. So unbelievable property. We're really excited to be there, and because of it we can give you much better service, and everything's all in one building, one location. So thanks to everyone that donated door prizes, that helped with the open house. It was just a big success. So if you never watched Car Stories before, you can catch up on past episodes on the PCTV network on the internet. The last couple shows I'd done were at the York Muscle Car Reunion, the Eastwood show up in Eastwood. They had a cruise in. And then I did the last Pottstown Classic Car Club cruise night and covered the Hot Wheel race. So it's been quite some time since I've been in the studio. We spent the summer, Gus and I, doing shows on the road, and everyone has told me how they enjoyed seeing the various shows at High Street. And the kids, of course, we sponsor Hot Wheels race for the young kids, and that was televised, and the kids got a kick out of seeing their car and seeing theirself on PCTV racing Hot Wheels on High Street. So check out some of the past episodes on PCTV, and you'll see what Car Stories is all about. Now tonight we have a special guest. Dan Woods is here from D&W Motorsports, and Dan is going to talk to you about powder coating. That's his business. And recently, a coincidence, Dan moved too. He moved his shop to a new location, and I'm going to let him tell you about his move, and then he's going to explain to you the powder coating process. It's a little different than painting. And Dan, thanks for coming.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mike, for having me.
Yep.
Our new location is 1100 Grosser Road in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania, 19525. Again, the same phone number. Same email address, same website, dwmotorsports.us. We're happy to be there. Amanda and I are very excited. It's a great location, easy to find, right off of Route 100. Turn left or right, depending on what direction you're at the Valero gas station. Go down about 1/8 of a mile and look for my sign. It's a great place to be, and we're really looking forward to doing business there in the new location. One of the key things that people ask us is, why do you powder coat things? Why do you do it? Well, it's more durable than most paints. There are some paints out there that are very tough, but it's very durable. It's so durable to the point where on a race car, for example, with burnouts and stones and rubber and hot rubber and everything flying around underneath that car, I just go under there with a damp rag and just wipe everything off, and it looks just like the day I did it. And I powder coated a lot of those parts over 10 years ago. So everything looks nice. It's a lot more chip resistant. You can scratch it, but it's a lot more difficult to scratch. It can also be rubbed out and buffed out if you do scratch it, and in some cases, depending on how deep the scratch is. I've actually buffed out some scratches from our customers that something happened and they brought it back and, hey Dan, can you fix this up? And it can be buffed out, but you got to be careful. It can be done. It keeps its luster over the years. Like I said, under the race car, the exhaust from the race car is actually a good test for different things. And the exhaust that comes out of under that car is caustic. And a lot of items that were painted eventually rusted over a period of 6 months. The powder coated parts, they stay just as they were when they powder coated them. I mean, it works great. The key to powder coating to make your stuff, your parts look good, is everything's in the preparation. The parts have to be clean. In most cases, they need to be media blasted. Parts have to be free from any grease, oil, paint, rust, and so forth, in order to get a very good finish. And you can see some of the parts that I have here, some of the finishes that are out there. Some people think it comes out of a spray bomb, like a spray can, but actually what it is, it's a powder. They call it powder coating. It's a powder, and it actually looks like powdered sugar. In some cases, it's red, white, clear, black. We got some metallics as well.
This is wild. Look at that.
Yeah, that's a real nice color there. That's a red metallic with a clear top coat. As in paints, you have base coat, clear coats. Powder, you have base coat, clear coats, and that's exactly what this is. And that's what this is here too. They call this Granny Smith metallic. It's a base coat, clear coat, and it's kind of like magic, it seems, when you put it in the oven, because when you first put the base coat on and it goes through its cure, you pull it out and you're thinking, whoa, something's wrong here. And when you put the clear on and then put it in for the second cure, it comes out looking like this. And it's just amazing stuff. Some of the colors that I shoot is just amazing what we can do. Here's another one here if you want to do a close-up. That's a what we call candy blue, where I spray a chrome-like powder base coat and then a translucent blue on top of it. They call it candy blue. Notice they're all Ford valve covers.
Yeah, what's with the Ford valve cover? No Chevy stuff? He did that on purpose, you know?
Yes, I did. Actually, these came from Virginia. I found these down at Virginia Motorsports Park, and they were cheap, and I bought them, and I'm like, these would be good samples. So,
yeah.
The colors that are available is, you know, metallics, there's clears, there's blacks. This is a semi-gloss black that I use a lot on. A lot of the original car parts that came from the factory were a semi-gloss black. And this manufacturer, this color is right on to the colors that they used back in the day.
Not too shiny, but not flat. Yeah.
One of my customers is a Thunderbird restorer. Okay, and he restores Thunderbirds from 61 to 66, and these cars gotta be perfect. I mean, he's been in magazines, he's written books. I mean, it's amazing what this guy has done, and he brings this stuff to me, and I powder coat him in this black, and you know, he just loves it. But back again, how it's applied and what you do, and it's a powder, like I said, it looks like powdered sugar, and it's put on electrostatically. The gun, when the powder comes out of the gun, the part is a positive charge, and the powder is a negative charge, and that's what makes the powder hold on to the part. It goes into the oven, and it's cured at 375 for 20 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes. And at that point in time, depending on the application, if it's just a black, you pull it out of the oven, and it's cooled, it's ready to go. There's no additional cure time, no special rub outs or anything. It's ready to go.
And I guess, Dan, is that what makes it so durable, the baking process?
Yes.
That's why it doesn't chip easily?
Yes. A good example, somebody told me a long time ago, a good way to explain this is if, just say you took a whole bunch of plastic milk cartons and you broke them down into a powder of some type, you know, real fine, and you found a way that you could actually put the powder dust, or if you will, over the part, and then put it in the oven and let it melt. And that's basically what you're doing. A lot of these powders are a polyester, okay?
Right.
And a polyester base, and there's other chemicals and such, and there's other powders other than polyester as well. But most of the powders that I shoot are a polyester. And it goes what we call through a gel process. When you put it in, it actually, when it starts to melt, it's kind of neat. Sometimes I'll cheat and pop the oven open just to
see what
kind
it
of
looks
look.
like.
And you'll see it actually start to go into a melting. It looks like it melts. We call it gel, but it goes like into a melting process. And then you know, after it's in the oven and you hit the temperature and you're there for 18, 20 minutes, you pull it out. It's ready to go as long as the parts is cooled down, of course. You know, a lot of people want to know, you know, call me up and they say, well, what can you powder coat in your shop? Well, I am a little bit limited on what I can do. I do powder coat the front end clips for the Novas and the Camaros. I can fit them in there. Control arms, rear housings, automatic transmission cases. A lot of guys from Maple Grove with the rear engine dragsters, they love this color on their transmission cases, the Power Glides. They love it because they do the burnout and the hot rubber flies straight up in the air, because you got to figure there's no fenders on these cars. the rubber and everything flies straight up in the air, and guess where it falls? Right down on the transmission.
Right, hot
And
rubber too.
They just go back to the pits. They just take a rag and they wipe it off, and it looks great. You know, they love it. I do inner fenders. I've done lawn furniture, motorcycle frames. I did a motorcycle frame last year that was on a Daytona giveaway bike. One of my customers from Springer Custom Cycles in Flemington, New Jersey. I'm sorry, Frenchtown, New Jersey. I do all his frames exclusively. And the Daytona giveaway bike was on American Iron Magazine.
No kidding.
We did the frame for that. You know, it's really kind of neat when you get that kind of work, you know.
Yeah, right.
And some of the frames that I've done for him, he comes over and kind of blows me away with some of the colors he wants to do, and we pull it off.
Are they new frames?
Brand new frames.
So
yeah.
for metal's pretty clean. It's not beat up, and you know.
You still got a media blast, and
Okay.
you still got to go through the cleaning
process,
just
right.
as you would a used frame. And I do a lot of used frames. A lot of the restoration guys for the Norton motorcycles, the old Harleys. The big thing now is the import bikes, the Hondas. A lot of guys are doing the frames for those now, and you know, it's what they like about the powder coating is, first of all, you got to find the right color, okay? And I have the right color, found it. And when you do it, it just looks better. It just kind of pops.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Covers everything on a car or a bike. You know, it's got to be the right shade and the right, you know, contrast.
Absolutely. And you know, the motorcycle frames. I have a way I do the motorcycle frames in the shop where I get a little more thickness on it, and the bike builders love it because if they slip with a wrench, okay, they're not breaking right through to base metal.
So you control the thickness when you're doing
I can,
it?
yes.
You can put extra coats on?
Yes,
or
I
make
can. You can put extra coats on, yes. You can put a clear coat over black. It's not really necessary. When you get parts that, for example, that are being used for marine, anything like marine's going to be submerged in water or anything like that, at that point in time, I'll put a special epoxy primer base coat on and then color on top of that.
How about imperfections? I mean, do you grind them out, or can you fill them, or not? What do you do if there is a little, you know, flaw in the metal?
Well, there's a couple ways you can do it. There's some stuff out there called lab metal that can be used. There's another stuff I use is JB Weld.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I had a rear tubes for it was a street rod. And these things look like they were buried in a field somewhere for like 40 years. And these things were pitted. I mean, they were pitted so bad it felt like you could crawl in the pits and pull the door closed. That's how bad they were. And what I did with those was I cleaned them, you know, media blasted them, and then I went over and ground them down a little bit to try to get the high spots off. And then what I did was I put them in the oven and put one coat on, pulled them out of the oven after it was cured, sanded them down.
Oh,
put it back in again.
Gotcha.
Because
So
it was a round tube, and to be able to fill that, all those pits, is next to impossible.
Right.
Well, by the time I was done, I had 3 coats of black on, then I had to put purple and then clear on. Okay, and the axle tubes look great. I mean, they look great. The owner recently sold the car. I don't know what happened to it, but up until then, he says they just like the day I did them.
Wow.
You know, so it was, you know, it's kind of cool. The stuff is nice. You can actually wax this if you want to. It's not really necessary. People want to know when I do their wheels, what do I do? You know, do I use special polish? Do I use this? No.